Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Mental Dojo with yours truly, Dennis Procopio. I'm a life coach for men. I own Man Up Life Coaching in San Diego, California. I work with dudes here in the United States and internationally, talking about guy stuff, guy problems, things that are on your mind, things that are on your heart. And today we're going to be talking about yet another grueling, uncomfortable, awkward bro topic. So join me inside. I promise it will not disappoint. See you there. Okay, so we are presumably recording. You know who I am. I'm your buddy Dennis, the life coach guy. And what time is it? It's 1:30 a.m. San Diego time. It's 2020, y'all. And it's interesting out there in the world. And so there's no getting around the elephant in the room, man. People get shaken up by this level of change. It's radical. We're going through something globally. That said, without trying to sound like I know more than anybody else in the world, I just know what I know. And I've learned under some unfortunate circumstances, so I think I have the right to talk about it. When you are forced to face fear, and there is no plan B, and your back is up against a wall, in your life, I don't mean in some combat scenario or Hatfield McCoy scenario. I just mean when you, in your story, are in a critically frightening situation. How will I get out of this? And you cannot go backward, and you must go forward. The more terrifying the thing is that you have to move toward, the more absolutely transcendent the experience when you realize I have to move through this and I have to somehow stay alive. And there's a calm you hit. And there's a clarity that you have. And that is a beginning. Because when that sort of thing happens, it makes everything else a little less interesting. Like, hey, wait a minute, I know all this stuff. But what was that? And for the people who have had that experience under some sort of duress, in some sort of survival situation, well, you got to work through the trauma part. I know that. But then there are those who are practitioners that start out with the idea, hey, there's this experience you can have. And they practice mental mastery, physical and mental mastery. Bruce Lee. They be water. I'm from Philadelphia. It's funny to me to hear a little voice in my head going, be water, Den. Be water, like Bruce Lee. Anyway. He was in the movies like Enter the Dragon. These are the people I have in my head. Whole lot going on in a guy's head. So you got to clear that all out. How do you clear that out? Meditation. So that's what some people do. They meditate. Other people were forced into a crisis scenario, and while you're sitting there, on the floor in fetal position, rocking back and forth, like, okay, this is like a legit torture environment. What do I do now? What's my move? What's my power move? You start to unlock parts of your brain and go, whoa, there's stuff you can do if you tap into this here. There's stuff can happen. And again, once you've gone into that, it makes you want to internalize more and experience that. So, I'm a coach. What I do is I work with guys who need to learn how to meditate and who are such worriers because they're typically very bright and they're overthinkers and their imaginations go wild and they become the victims of their own horror stories. That's when it's your job, my job, the job of somebody who's an OG who's been through this stuff to say, hey, I may not be there yet, but I'm further down the conveyor belt than you. You don't have to say it like my father's generation. When I was, when you were getting hit with Johnson and Johnson, I was over here already doing that. So, there ain't nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? These kids are green. They're wet behind the ears. Okay. Right? For a lot of guys, that's what you come from. You come from dudes that have been sort of taught that you're a Mary if you don't act like a tough guy. Some guys were raised soft and they think the tough guy thing is cool. I want to make it clear here. This is not machismo. Is not like alpha. But there's a guy thing. There's a man thing. There's a dad thing. There's a brother thing. There's an uncle thing. You get it. And as a boy, you gravitate toward that. That's interesting for you. Men are men. They have beards and junk, cars and boats, and they hunt. Men are men. And little boys are going to be men. Most of them. So it's not about being macho. Macho is based on machismo. It's primate posturing. But if we really go spiritual on the thing, if we're really going to talk about it, facing your fears is about getting past that fight or flight reflex and being present and looking at the thing that's basically potentially capable of killing you. Saying, all right, not only am I okay with this, I got a good sense of humor about it. You say, well, oh, you can say that, but you've never, well, oh, yes, actually I have. Actually, I have. So I can say that. I can tell stories for days. Every time I've been afraid of something, I've gone right into it. Because again, as I said, once you're shocked out of the system, so to speak, and into this sort of God mind headspace, It sounds religious as heck or wacky or whatever to say it this way, but it's all you crave, unless you're distracted. And what are you distracted by? The world. So if you're on the internet looking for something that's going to be actually real, all right, well, this is actually real. Like, no bullshit. Who is this guy? Man, it's not about who is this guy. It's about what this guy's saying. Yeah, I'm a character. I get it. I've got a million characters. Don't think it doesn't occur to me. I know how to play myself. That's the ego. Okay, that's what this is all about. This whole thing. All right. But as far as that conveyor belt metaphor analogy, you're eventually going to get to a point where you're forced to deal with your biggest fear and walk right through it. Right? Like that was Wim Hof's whole thing. That's how he found his connection to the source of true vision, energy, being. I'm not preaching, man. I'm really not preaching. I'm just saying I'm one of those people got a flash of it in chaos, and a lot of us have that experience. I'm not alone. And so you start letting go of your personal narrative and what it means to you. It doesn't matter why anything. It just, there's only one thing that matters. Whatever that is, I know that matters. That thing, right? That vision, that awareness, that clarity, that it's like for a split second, I had a snapshot of the whole universe, and then it was just in front of me like a map, and I get to look at it for a while, and then it got pulled away, and I'm sitting there trying to wait. How do I get here again? I remember actually having the thought, how do I get here again? Drawing, doodling, hours and hours and hours and hours straight. Like in a jail cell type situation. Drawing and drawing and drawing. In my personal Auschwitz. Didn't matter what I was drawing. Didn't matter. And breaking through into whatever that mind state is, that is the reason that people meditate. Like, why else would you meditate? I understand why you'd have sex. It's designed to be stimulating. Meditation is definitely not designed to be stimulating. There's nothing about meditation that makes people go, God, you know what I just want to do? I want to just kneel down and stare at a wall for 4 hours until I'm so sick of hearing my own judgmental thoughts. I want to smack myself in the fucking head with a hammer. You know, because that's what's happening in people's minds. Guys are pretty self-judgmental, right? So why do people meditate? They meditate because they're trying to get to that place too, that you get to have a immediate sort of LSD version of it, like insight into in trauma. And that's why people get addicted to trauma. There's a little rush there. Like me, like I'm a chili head. Why am I a chili head? Because a hot pepper, cool. Let's see if I can go hotter. Let's see if I can go hotter. Whoa! Now that's the one that there. Now the force is with me. Now I'm in the spirit. Whoop, up and out. There we go. That was the kick I was looking for. And you say, well, isn't that just a drug? Isn't that just like a dopamine hit or something? Nah. And people, nah. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. That's what all the songs are about. The books, like the Bible, all of those things. Sorry, I'm laughing because, of course, it's all coincidental. Coincidence. Of course, that's going to happen, isn't it? And that's what you learn. You learn that you are a part of a mind, and as a part of that mind, your ability to input positive thoughts. That sounds so freaking corny. I can't even believe I'm looking at myself saying that and calling this business man up. But it's true. Positive thought, like it makes the ego cringe. The ego doesn't want to hear that positive thoughts. Positive thoughts, self-help. But you have to really rationalize it and understand somebody might be saying something to you here right now. This guy a salesman? Yeah, I am a salesman, actually, and I'm a good salesman. I'll sell you stuff you already have. If you really want to know, to be honest, yeah. So could I con the hell out of you? Yes, I could. I believe in my ability to do that in the short term. I really actually do. Yeah. But I couldn't be a snake oil salesman for long because death of a salesman, that's not my gig. I wouldn't do it. I have too much dignity. I'd rather die on my shield. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. Dignity. And also something beyond ego. It's that God thing. It's that love of God thing. If you don't know what the experience is that I'm talking about, then you hear the word God and you go, oh, here we go. I knew it was one of these. And you say, oh, what's your deal? They say, oh, I'm a nihilist. Okay. It's not that I don't appreciate nihilism and all that. Just saying some people are talking about something. Other people are talking about something else. But you have the power to stop freaking bomb hammer time. Right? Because when you hit yourself in the head with a hammer, it puts you in touch with something. It puts you in touch with the present. And that's why a lot of the time in these freaking Zen parables, the teacher slaps the freaking student in the side of the head with a yarrow stalk. It's like he seems like a real dick because he does things like burn the guy's hut down. These lessons are, anecdotal stories about not being attached to anything because, fun fact, anything that you attempt to attach to in any permanent and meaningful way in this experience is predestined to cause you concern that you're going to lose that thing. And that's where fear comes from. It's this idea of loss. And that's why the idea of a special attachment to anything in your perceivable universe is a handicap. You are given an opportunity now here in the mental dojo where we talk about this shit. Because a dojo is a place where you practice a martial art and work out and train. And the physical follows the mental, and the mental follows the spiritual. And if you don't understand what that is, then that's why you practice. So we practice that. I practice that. My guys practice that. We face fear all of the time. That's the game. I have one guy. I feel like I've told the story within our group so many times now. But if you're somebody who's never heard this before, you'll be. This is new for you. So fine, I'll just encapsulate it. I have one guy who's a hunter. He's an outfitter up in British Columbia, and he kills grizzly bears and wolves and anything scary. He's got like 2 million acres of land. He's basically Wolverine living out in the bush with his family. It's this very rare situation, and the stuff reality TV shows are made of. Bush people. Hey. Um, and all of my guys think this dude is a badass. He doesn't think of himself as an alpha. In fact, he shirks away from the idea of being an alpha because he doesn't want the responsibility. And he's legit so terrified of being in a situation like this. Like here I am just talking into a camera, right? Like, screw it. Live. So there goes that. I'm putting that out there now. The internet has it. Too late. I have no idea who's even watching this because I don't do that. I don't look. Oh, so and so said. Hi, so and so. All right. Because ultimately, this is going to be YouTube content. So I'm just streaming it into the Man Up Brotherhood, which is a closed group. So my guys can see the outtakes. This might or might not make the final cut. But so fear. Right? Here's this guy, this dude up there, Wolverine guy, that says he's not an alpha. And we're like, You're definitely like an alpha. He's like, no, I'm really not. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want to be an alpha. No, not me. And also shy as hell. So shy that if he were to do what I'm doing, it would shock him into like complete, utter fetal position, scared baby mode. And I think it's really valuable to point this out. I think there's a story here because I know dudes, man, and this guy represents everything that a dude would find cool about a freaking guy, man. You know, you say, you're stereotyping, you're thinking of a certain kind of guy. No, I'm thinking if my business is called Man Up Life Coaching, you got to find somebody here like, all right, that dude's like pretty much of a badass. This guy's not only that, he's so legit that he doesn't even like fully get it that he's that, even though people are telling him that. And then I have these other clients that are like, what's he shy about? Like, how could a guy like that be terrified to like speak publicly? Like, bro, your swag has to be off the hook. But every single guy has things that we are afraid of, fears that we have to face. I had one growing up. It was rats. It still is rats, but my phobia of rats was so bad, just because of negative experiences in the ghetto. City rats, Philly, New York, 70s, ghetto, bad rats. Okay. And then country rats. Like rats suck. So I was traumatized by rats. I was so afraid of them, man. I'd pass out if I saw one. And I got a pet rat, which was the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life, was getting this goddamn rat. When it touched me, I just fucking thought it was going to run up my arm, just go in my eye, just eat my brain out, come out my ear, back in my mouth, burrow through like real Orwellian shit, you know? I got a girl because the boys, I guess they drag their nut sacks around and get their like nut musk all over everything as a way of saying, hey ladies, I'm in the house. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want this dude, you know, fucking teabagging me on top of terrifying me. So We went for a girl, hooded rat. Her name was Elise. I remember going to work the next day and I go, "Hey, I got a pet rat." He goes, "You got a pet rat?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What'd you name it?" This guy's my boss. I said, "I named it Elise." He goes, "Elise? That's my fiance's name, Elise." I was like, "Oops, sorry." Anyway, yeah. Sorry, I named her broad after a rat. Anyway, it was a beautiful little animal. I was terrified of her. She never bit me. She never scratched me. She ran in and out of my shirt like it was just the craziest thing. She was the scariest. I was terrified of her. I was terrified. I was just so afraid of her. I was so afraid of her like a dragon. I was afraid of her. Every time I put my hand in that cage, I expected to just squeak, scary, blood pain, squeak, squeak, and then I just pass out and just kills me. That's really like fucking fear. When talk about fear, shit was visceral. I was really scared. And I got this thing on my head. I was drawing, like doing a painting or something, some meditative exercise with my biggest fear on my head, licking my earlobe, running in and out of my shirt. If I can tell you, that hot sauce was some good hot sauce. That was a come to Jesus moment right there. Boom. You just feel like you conquered a level in some crazy video game. So we have to do that. We have to seek out fears, challenge them. If you're terrified of something like a rat, you have a blessing just waiting for you. You have a jackpot that's about to pop, man. Go get that energy, like Mario Brothers. Ding, 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 ding. Go get all that. I'm really saying a thing here. This guy I'm talking about, the scared guy. Guy's not the guy who kills grizzly bears from 10 feet away that's scared to get on a mic. This guy is the kind of guy that if people were like, "Wait, he's scared to get on a mic," they'd be like, "Damn, now I don't feel so bad being afraid of low-key afraid of snakes or spiders or clowns." Don't say little people. My son is a little person. Darn it, I know that goes in there, and you don't say that. Not funny. All right, clowns, though. You could say clowns. People really have phobias of clowns. Bad. Like you don't really make fun of them. Like they really legit have like phobia of clowns. Fear. People are afraid of things. There's a deeper argument that I won't touch because I think it's a little bit beyond the scope of this particular meeting. Teaser for the next one, right? But there's a deeper argument that says that the fear that you're experiencing is actually an attack that you're intentionally waging against yourself to prevent yourself from having the experience, because that experience, do that again, man up, man. Yeah. That was beautiful. Like a fucking angel just flew in here. It was like a castrati. My grandma used to sing in church, the Ave Maria. She was very proud of it. But I digress. Rats, is that what we were talking about? Being afraid? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Seek out fear. Seek out fear. Because they're these big money sacks. They're power-ups. They have energy in them. Every time you confront a fear and it doesn't kill you, and you're able to keep your eyes open through it and have that liberated experience, oh, you're going to be afraid. Nah. But you're going to want to go back there. And I'm not saying getting that on drugs. I'm saying doing it right and doing it naturally. And the way to do it naturally is to man the fuck up, face that fear, and if it doesn't kill you, which I'm telling you it won't, then the good things that are going to happen are going to, like, whoa, you get to the next level. And you're going to have things in your world that present themselves as opportunities to distract you from being on the course of finding risks, taking them, and benefiting from them. Because once you get on a little roll there, you're just like, I'm just like, look at me, golden goose, making money. So you're going to have turbulence that's going to come up to sort of say, all right, you're pimping so hard, you're balling. So what happens when this happens? Now what? Turbulence. And again, for those of us who have been gun to the head, forced into the realization that there's calm through the other side of terror, we know that you can get there instantly if you have to. And don't think I'm confusing being in shock with some sort of, religious experience. In future episodes, I can kind of prove it. But anyhow, I can prove it if you just do the work I'm telling you to do. I can prove it. Step 1, draw or something like it all day, every day. And while you're at that, validate yourself. I say this for the entire time I've been talking. I hate to put this on you, but chances are that if you counted the judgmental thoughts that you had about yourself versus the validating thoughts about yourself, there'd be a disproportionate ratio, and not in favor of validations, right? So one of the things we constantly work on is that you have to do this. And there are guys like, I know this program. Is there anything new about this program? You're always just talking about validations. Yeah, I'm always putting gas in my gas tank too, because that's what makes the car go. It's not like, oh, my engine's bored and need some variety. No, that's what makes it go. And validations are what push you through that self-attack that we wage upon ourselves instead of simply pushing through into that peaceful place. And the moment you make a mistake, you're going to feel so guilty. Oh, and here comes you bar. And if that doesn't work, then somebody else will come out and tell you you're bad or invalidate you and just knock you right off. And you got to boom, 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 build your sandcastle back up again. But mastery is that you practice this while you have time. You can't tell me you don't have time. Of course you have time. You just don't want to do it. You don't want to sit and be still for 30 minutes, for an hour. Why not? Well, I have important things to do. Like what? Like what? You have to do that's so important. Isn't conquering your deepest fear important? Seems like it would make all these other things you're trying to do easier. Seems like you could make a whole business out of teaching guys that. Seems like. I don't mean to be cocky, but I mean, come on, man. Validate. Meditate. Don't ruminate. If you feel a feeling and it feels like fear, whatever it is, Move away from that. Choose some other thought. Don't entertain that. And if it confronts you in your actual physical world because you have this need to deal with it, so you actually manifest it because that's what's really happening, then forgive it. Right? Isn't that what Jesus did with Mary Magdalene? Right? The mantra Navkar, right? Or Namokar is a Jain mantra. Om Namo Arihantanam, Om Namo Siddhanam, Om Namo Ayariyanam, Om Namo Uvajayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam. I know I'm probably butchering it as far as how they say it, but that was pretty much what it is. And one of the ideas is essentially that, I bow to those saints who have sort of conquered their inner enemies, defeated their inner enemies. Well, your inner enemies are projections of your fears. Defeating your inner enemies means that you're going to project your inner enemies outward, and they're going to come up to you as real people, like you're in the frickin' Matrix. So when you're in the dream of life that we're going to assume is real until you wake up, unless you don't wake up. Self-conscious about touching my face because of COVID, but I'm in my home office. It's not good modeling, sorry. Anyway, in the dream, in the virtual reality that is the life you're living, right? To be or not to be, right? Your whole deal is the things that you interact with that you're afraid of are the things that you have to forgive. As a trauma survivor, at least as my narrative goes, I have to recognize it doesn't matter. What's your story? It doesn't matter. Well, of course it matters because it defines how you act and how you behave. And nah. No, what defines how I act and how I behave are the choices that I make. And that's something we practice over and over and over and over and over and over. Because you've gotten to a point where you've been programmed. So now you have to reprogram. What do you reprogram with? You reprogram with silence. Why? Because when you reprogram with silence, all this stuff bubbles up. What is it? It's self-talk. And as the self-talk gets resolved because you forgive it. What does that mean? You forgive it? It means you just observe it and you just say, I don't necessarily have to take ownership of that. In fact, I'm not going to just sit here and watch this like I'm, watching the sky just rain crap all over me. So instead you redirect. And you say, like a mantra. Over and over and over. Now, the Jains believe the mantra Navakar or Namokar, mantra Namokar, to be the most auspicious. It's worked right into the mantra itself. It's a self-referential mantra boasting its own awesomeness. But if you're a Catholic or a Christian, you can repeat the Lord's Prayer. That's an amazing mantra. It's all in there, all the same stuff. If you get out your religious secret decoder ring, you'll discover that once you've had a little peek at true vision, you've realized that it's not about difference, it's about commonality. Don't take the tools in the video game too seriously, right? Or you'll forget it's a virtual reality. What the hell is this guy talking about? I'm talking about something. I am talking about something. I'm talking about how fear changes perception. It changes your world. Don't believe me? Talk to veterans with PTSD. Yeah. You have to learn how to separate the trauma part from the sort of weirdly blissful part without feeling like you're kind of bending over and giving up and whatever. Because the ego, and I hate to keep saying the ego, but it's the ego. The ego is self-preserving, and it attaches itself to your fears. If you're fearless, the ego has nowhere to reside, and so you're spotless, which is arguably your true identity, as you will know if you practice accessing it in the present, which is available right now. And if you are having trouble locating now, find the nearest blunt object and slap yourself in the head with it. Bam! Yeah, and here we are now. Now. All right, now. So when is the time to meditate? Now. Why? Because the thing you're looking for is only going to be found now. When? Now. When is that? It's always right here. Just like Annie, she tells you about how tomorrow is always a day away. She doesn't tell you about how right now is always right in front of your fucking face. Shut up and pay attention to it. So to digest in an hour of this dribble. Really, I'd much rather you went and meditated than listen to this shit. But maybe this will point you in that direction, and then maybe when you start meditating, you're going to be like, all right, what other good things is he going to tell me to do? We'll talk about it. But for right now, facing fear and manning up. What do I mean it's about forgiveness? It's about detaching yourself from any worldly story. Like frickin' Alice through the looking glass, right? What's the thing with the cat? It's just like we're all mad here, right? He says, you're mad. She says, how do you know? He says, look, you'd have to be if you came here or whatever. What's the exact quote? Now I want to see it. Sorry if this isn't super entertaining, but I want to see it. Alice through the looking. Alice through looking. Oh, wait. Sorry, hold on. What is it? We're all mad here. Quote. Let's see that. I'll see what they come up with. All right. Sorry, you know what a real person who does this would do? They'd actually share their screen so you can see the same thing in real time with me. All right. Well, you Google it. I thought it was a good one, but for some reason, here, let me see. Alice, blah, blah, blah. God damn it. I'm not a quitter. This moment right here, this is where Cody would just fucking drop dead. Okay, we're all mad here. Quote, Alice. Come on, man. Give it to me, god damn it. Because now I'm going to do it. Okay, come on. Big money, no whammies. Give it to daddy. There we go. But I don't want to go among mad people, Alice remarked. I have a kid. Immediately I have to go into the dad voice. But I don't want to go among mad people, Alice remarked. Oh, you can't help that, said the cat. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad. How do you know I'm mad, said Alice. Oh, you must be, said the cat, or you wouldn't have come here. Yeah, that's exactly right, man. You're mad or you wouldn't have come here. I don't mean mad like you're angry. I mean mad like you're not seeing straight. So meditation is the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to do is validate, validate, validate. Have a short memory for failures. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to break a few eggs and make an omelet. You're going to feel like shit. Doesn't matter. Keep on pushing through that. Only focus on the positives. Forget about the negatives. Shit, wipe, flush. Don't get stuck thinking on that. Just keep pushing through. Validate. Say things to yourself like, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You say, well, isn't that fluffing up my ego? No, I didn't say tell yourself I'm awesome. Say it like you're looking in the mirror. You're awesome. So what you're doing, you're giving praise. To who? Whoever the hell you is. You're awesome. Right? Who is you? Use you. Use the other guy. It's the same thing. What do you mean it's the same thing? Physically, we're two separate bodies. I don't want to get into metaphysics. I could. We do that here in the mental dojo too. But all I'm saying is that I can demonstrate that there's a causal relationship between fear and suffering. And that when you choose not fear, really good things happen. But you have to be able to forgive the people in the story of your life. And your frickin' ego doesn't want you to do that. And misery loves company. So you end up in a jail cell with an unlocked door, but you don't leave. Because you're spiritually defeated. Trust me, I'm saying something. So get your energy back by finding where your biggest fears are, manning up and saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to face that fear. 1, make the commitment. 2, put it on your calendar. 3, get the necessary materials. And 4, set your alarm, get up and go handle your business. You don't believe me? What'd you do last weekend? I did a 500-mile freaking motorcycle ride through the desert and mountains. Yeah, like real talk. Go do things. Internally do things. Take risks. Dare to be a nice guy. Sometimes the biggest risks are the ones that make you feel the most vulnerable. Huh? All right. Well, listen, on that note, speaking of fear, I'm afraid it's getting a little late here, so I'm going to bail ski. If you're liking what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you a message about liking and subscribing in a couple of seconds. So when you see me, do whatever it is I tell you to do. Thanks. Bye. Well, guys, thanks for stopping by. It's time to shut down the mental dojo, throw the chains on the doors, lock the padlock, and get the hell out of here. But before I do that, would you do me a favor and hit like? I would appreciate that. And also, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're feeling what I'm doing here, if you're smelling what I'm stepping in, go ahead and hit subscribe so that we can do this again, because the man cave just isn't the same when you're not here, man. And I mean that. Thanks for coming by. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.